There's nothing like finishing a project at work perfectly and then heading out on a perfect vacation at a perfect beach with a perfect drink in your hand. But what if it rains a few days? What if the beach is crowded? What if a fly lands in your drink? And did you just say you too to your boss when they told you to have a nice trip? Perfectionism can be tough to handle, and it's one of the topics sports psychologist Dr. Jared Spencer tackles while at this almost perfect beach during his iFIT series, Anxiety, Work It Out.
It's about pairing the content that I have with the environment. Because what makes iFIT so special is that we're out there in the world, in some of the most beautiful places in the world, and we invite the user to get on their machine and join us in that particular location. But it's not enough just to see the beautiful spot. I find it a gift, a challenge, an opportunity to say, how can I marry what I have to share here with the beautiful environment there? So in particular, if we're going to talk about perfection, how about a gorgeous beach in Antigua where there's not a person out there, the sun is shining, it's just stunning, and most people would say, wow, Jerry, that just was perfect. And one of the key points I made in that video was one way to kind of manage perfectionism, which is really a way to manage background anxiety. One way we can manage that a little bit better is to remove the word perfect from our vocabulary and substitute that with excellent. So it's not a perfect beach, but it's an excellent beach, right? And when we begin to think like that, like, well, that's not a perfect dinner, but it was an excellent dinner. The more we can have excellence, then we can have joy, we can have excitement, we can have positivity. But perfection, well, that's misery because it's certainly not attainable.
That's just one of the tools Spencer offers to those who take his iFIT hikes to put in their mental toolbox.
I'm a big fan of the concept of 1%. That essentially each tool that I put in the mental toolbox for somebody that I'm serving, as we did with the iFIT series, that I would give, here's the problem, here's the tools. Well, that tool is not going to solve it, but it might be 1% for that technique, such as excellence. It might be 1% for another technique. And then as you add 2, 3, 4, 5 of them up, hey, 5% change is a really big deal when it comes to emotional health and as that translates to performance.
Working with iFIT helps Spencer bring his Mind of the Athlete, Clearer Mind, Better Performance message to the masses by streaming classes to their home workout devices.
I just really wanted to try to utilize the platform to show the world how important the mental health aspect of working out is as well. When we work out, what are we really working out, right? We're working out our tension, our stress, anxiety, depression, our emotions. And so when iFIT reached out to me, I really wanted to just share as much as I could, as best as I possibly could. And it's not just me, it's wonderful people out there, Trevor Moad, George Mumford, and others. There's wonderful people that are sharing their expertises, linking movement and performance and exercise with what does that really do for confidence and focus and ability to fall asleep a little bit easier, ability to manage tension a little bit longer. We've long known this, but pairing that together has been more embraced in the sports world as a sports psychologist and now is coming into the general public and particularly in the fitness industry.
Being an iFIT instructor isn't the only way Dr. Jared Spencer has spread his message recently. In June, he stopped by CNN's studio in New York City to record a segment about tennis star Naomi Osaka dropping out of the French Open after not attending press conferences due to mental health concerns, including anxiety.
You know, it's an interesting word choice that I used about the invisible injury on CNN, and that became that terminology that they end up using for the marketing, and that video went pretty far. And I think it's because we all relate to that idea that with Naomi, while I don't know her personally and never worked with her, I can imagine that if she had laryngitis, for example, they maybe would have given her a pass from doing some of those interviews. But because she said she had social anxiety, there was pushback about that. And I believe that mental health's time has come, and that particular moment in history was one where the entire athletic world began to rally around her and say, we need to make systemic change. And this isn't just about the athletes or the coaches. This is about all of us saying, you know what, enough's enough. We are going to finally make the adjustments necessary within corporations and school settings to let people know that if they're struggling, there's help, there's hope, there's empathy, there's support, there's validation, and that it doesn't have to be just a suck it up, push through, get through it mentality. That's outdated. The pandemic has revealed to us all that that's not enough.
Spencer says that the coronavirus pandemic put mental health in the spotlight. It seems that more and more people are realizing that they have to work out their mind along with their muscles.
And the messages I'm putting out there, and even this interview right now, is to reach people's heart and to let them know that you are not alone. You're not alone. Even though it can feel that way, and it can feel like you're in your own little bubble when you're struggling with mental health, but letting people know as best I can that they don't have to suffer in silence, and that there's a whole community of people out there that have been suffering in silence, but as we break that silence and we all join together, we could find support. And that support is one of the most significant parts research shows us in a person's ability to come back through adversity is, how is their support? And I believe that if we can find that support, which is really what the online workout communities are doing as well, say, you know, there's support there, and there's Facebook pages and spin-off groups that start, and as we find that support, then we can feel like, okay, I'm gonna get through this with somebody, and that's gonna change not just my body or my mind, but even something much deeper into our soul.
So as we're all working on getting life back to normal, remember to take some time for yourself and work out your mind. If you need a guide, I know a guy. For more information, go to iFIT.com. Well, I hope you thought that this was a excellent story. For SSPTV Sports, I'm Ken Kara.